I'm Ann Loader.
And I'm Jeff Groves, and welcome to this edition of Police Beat.
You know, Jeff, as we stand up here near Horsetooth Reservoir, we look across the choice city of Fort Collins. It's a choice city, but we do have a few problems here. We run into people with alcohol or drug problems, especially in our job. A lot of people may wonder, do we take them to jail, or what do we do with them once we pick them up?
Well, that's a good point, Ann. And, of course, jail is one of the alternatives. But another alternative is what a lot of the officers know as DETOX. And it has another name, which is actually the Island Grove Regional Treatment Facility for Alcohol and Drug Abuse. It may not be the full correct name, but we're going to learn more about the real name for it during this month's edition of Police Beat. Actually, that facility is over in Greeley, which is about 35 miles to the east, which is where the officers have to transport these people when they pick them up here in Fort Collins. So why don't you come along with us, and we'll take a tour of the new DETOX facility.
Let's go. Hi, today we're with Bill Wendt, who is the DETOX coordinator at Island Grove Regional Treatment Center, Inc. in Greeley, Colorado.
Bill, thank you for being with us here today.
Sure, my pleasure.
I understand there's actually more to the Island Grove Regional Treatment Center than just the DETOX Center. There's other areas.
That's correct.
Could you tell us a little bit about the different programs that are offered here at the center?
Sure. We have 3 separate clinics. We operate a non-medical detox facility, which is, you're standing in the area where most of our clients are admitted. We treat about 2,000 clients a year in our non-medical detox center. We also operate a 20-bed long-term residential facility, which we call our transitional program. And we have an outpatient program that operates in a separate facility on 11th Avenue that runs DUI groups, domestic violence, and community outpatient services along with other types of family counseling.
Well, I remember way back in 1974, I think it was, as when it was no longer a crime to be intoxicated. Mm-hmm. And that really is kind of the birth of this center, isn't it?
That's correct. The Alcohol and Drug Abuse Division on a state level was created to fund and license and regulate primarily detox facilities to offer a safe place for people to stay when they were intoxicated and dangerous to themselves or to others. And out of that came the emergency commitment statute, which about a quarter of our 2,000 referrals a year are under a statutory hold because their level of intoxication is such that it's really making them a danger to themselves or to somebody else.
Okay. Now, not all of your clients are here as a result of law enforcement intervention.
No, not at all.
They come from all walks of life, in all ways they come here for help.
That's correct. Our demographics are quite diverse. We're a regional treatment center, so our catchment area includes 10 counties, as far west as Larimer, all the way out to Washington and Yuma, Phillips and Sedgwick counties. We see about 80% men to 20% female. Family and friends make referrals. Our primary referral sources are law enforcement and the area hospitals. Northern Colorado Medical Center is our largest referral source, followed closely by Greeley Police Department, and then Fort Collins Police, Poudre Valley Hospital, and McKee Medical Center in Loveland. We get a lot of people also that their family members bring them in. They've had too much to drink, they just can't stand it anymore, and they're in crisis, and they bring them here. We are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we have open admission, so people don't have to necessarily have anything scheduled. So people come in oftentimes in the midst of a crisis. Their family brings them in, says, you know, you really need to get some help. Other referrals are scheduled and planned.
Bill, we're in the detox side of it right now. Why don't you give the public an idea of what happens when somebody enters detox, what kind of process they go through?
Sure. This is our west entrance, which is the only entrance in the facility that's open 24 hours a day. Most of our clients come in through here, and the first step in the process is that they have a seat, and we immediately take their vital signs. As I mentioned, we are a non-medical detox facility, which means we don't have a medical director. We do have one RN who's a part-time supervisor, but most of the work is done by detox aides. They get CPR, first aid training, and other educational and training workshop experiences in the treatment of withdrawal and substance abuse. So the first step in the process is to get some vital signs. Oftentimes, if law enforcement is accompanying the client and there's a major concern that the staff will have, we may ask that the person be medically cleared prior to being admitted here. So if you were bringing somebody in and their blood pressure was really elevated or they had an extremely high blood alcohol level, we were really concerned about their medical status, we may ask you to take them over to the emergency room. We have an affiliation agreement with the ER here at Northern Colorado Medical Center, and so they'll make sure that the person's going to be safe in a non-medical setting. So we get the process started here, gather some information from the referral source about how much they've had to drink or use that day, some demographic information, family involvement, those kinds of things. And then typically we take them back into an intake office once the vitals are taken. And we'll get a breathalyzer reading on an intoximeter, which is not a forensic kind of breathalyzer, but it's used for therapeutic purposes, primarily to determine who should be medically detoxed. We do statistics every year, and on the 2,000 admissions that we see a year, only about 3 to 5% of those people end up requiring medical intervention while they're here. So a social setting detox environment for most people is extremely safe and very cost effective.
I kind of have a question for you. Our average citizen, goes out and has a few beers and possibly gets picked up for DUI, and a blood alcohol level can be expected somewhere around 0.15 or something like that. Your clientele can range from that level or even lower, but usually are they much higher?
Yeah, I think our average blood alcohol level is probably about a 0.20, and that's of course on our intoxilizer. So that's not an official hospital blood test or forensic breathalyzer test, but we do tend to run the full gamut. We've actually had clients with blood alcohol levels as high as 0.6 that were still functional because they developed so much tolerance to alcohol. They could maintain a much higher blood alcohol level and still maintain their mental capacities. So once the clients are admitted, we've gathered some demographics. We do a medical history. We get all their medications cleared. A lot of our clients come in accompanied with medications for various things such as high blood pressure problems, diabetes, to medications that were prescribed by the hospital to keep them from going into complicated withdrawal. Primarily a variety of benzodiazepines are used, and we lock that medication up, and when it's time for the client to take it, they can actually come to the counter and we can monitor it. We don't administer it. So there's a fine line between being a medical detox facility and then just monitoring medications for clients.
Does the medications that the clients may mix with alcohol really aggravate the problem that you have to deal with when these people come in?
Certainly can. It's one of the things that we're most concerned about, particularly when people are on benzodiazepines and they've been drinking because of a phenomenon called synergism, which is really where the effects of the alcohol and the medications are not just additive, but they're actually multiplied. And so the risk for overdose is much higher. It's in a lot of those instances where we may want somebody screened at the hospital to get a blood level of what other drugs are in their system.
Okay. Bill, once we go through the process here and say I was being admitted, what's the next thing you do? I think people have the wrong perception of what detox is. You don't just bring somebody in here who's inebriated, let them dry out and send them out the door. You have a certain amount of days they stay here, and if you'd like to give us a tour of your facility on the detox side, we'd sure like to see that.
Okay. This is a men's wing of our facility, of the detox clinic. We have 25 beds, and majority, as I mentioned earlier, of our clients are men. Typically what happens after a client's admitted, their vitals have been taken, some information has been gathered, they're ruled to be safe. Many times they're going to want to go to sleep and maybe sleep it off, so to speak. Most of our rooms are semi-private, and the clients are assigned a room. And we will check on them. Clients are involved in a pretty structured program. When they're feeling up to it, many of them are hungover the next day, don't really feel like getting up and going to group. And in that event, we check on them, make ensure that their vitals are well within normal ranges, offer them some thing to eat, and encourage them to drink a lot of fluids. One of the common dangers of withdrawal is dehydration. So we oftentimes encourage clients to push a lot of fluids.
Now, there is a women's wing also.
That's correct. It's laid out pretty much the same way
And
in
how
the
many
facility.
beds are over in that wing?
We have 9 on our women's wing.
And one thing that you didn't mention earlier is that you also treat juveniles.
Yes, that's correct. We take adolescents from ages 13 to 17, and we see about 250 kids a year in our clinic. The interesting thing is most of our referrals for adolescents come from Larimer County. You'd think that a treatment center located in Weld County would have the majority of the referrals coming from Weld County, but when it comes to adolescents, most of them come from Larimer County. I think a lot of that has to do with some of the progressive programs in the ART team and the YOR team, and some of the things that are going on in Larimer County that aren't necessarily being done here. So that's encouraging to us.
Let's take a look at some of the rest of the facility.
Okay.
Bill, when somebody comes to DETOX, how many days do they usually end up staying here?
Well, it really depends. Most clients are here for anywhere from 8 hours, if they really don't want to be here, to up to 5 days.
Okay, and when they come, who pays for it?
Well, our payer source is a combination of some state and federal grant dollars, along with insurance, that some clients come here with insurance that covers their stay. Other people pay out of their pocket. We operate on a sliding scale fee structure. All clients are charged for their services.
Even a transient who...
That's correct. We do have a waiver process. If people have absolutely no ability to pay, in the case of somebody who's homeless and transient, we will waive that, and we pay for their bill out of our state and federal grants.
I see.
This is one of our group rooms. The clients are involved in a pretty highly structured program. They're in group a lot. Group therapy is a big part of what's important and what goes on in DETOX. The groups here are primarily educational, motivational, and what we try to do is build upon the crisis that brought the person here. People are most amenable to change when they're in a period of crisis, and most people end up at the DETOX center because of something upsetting that's happened. So we try to capitalize on that and use that as an opportunity to encourage them to go on for further treatment, or as an opportunity to introduce some significant behavioral changes in their life. We operate a family program on Wednesday night that's free of charge and open to people in the community. That's strictly an educational group for family members of people who have drug or alcohol problems. So that's an important part of what goes on as well. This is a cafeteria where most of our self-help meetings are held. We offer self-help meetings such as Alcoholics Anonymous, Rational Recovery, and Women for Sobriety. Those meetings are not just available for our clients, but they're open to people in the community as well. And most of those meetings are facilitated in this group room right here.
I think you mentioned to us this women's group that is of specific interest.
Yeah, that's correct. We're the only agency in our region that offers Women for Sobriety. And Women for Sobriety is a self-help group that's philosophically very different from Alcoholics Anonymous. It's really came out of the feminist movement. And it's a program that really believes in empowering women to be more competent and to feel more in control of their life and to take charge in areas ranging from self-esteem to substance abuse. So it's a pretty popular program that we offer here at Island Grove, and that's held on Friday nights.
Great.
Bill, besides law enforcement agencies that end up bringing clients over here, how else do people get here?
In a variety of ways. Island Grove has made a concerted effort to try to meet agencies such as hospitals. We actually drive to the emergency room at Northern Colorado Medical Center, McKee, and Poudre Valley Hospital. We began to run into a problem with some of our rural, more extended referral agencies having to drive people all the way over here, such as law enforcement. About 2 years ago, Team Fort Collins created a DETOX subcommittee to look into some possibilities of funding additional transportation avenues to get people over here to Island Grove. And it took us about 2 years. The subcommittee is made up of the City of Loveland Police Department, the City of Fort Collins Police Department, representatives from Larimer County commissioners, the Mental Health Center. And what we did was put together a collaborative grant proposal that includes funding from the Alcohol and Drug Abuse Division in Denver, the City of Loveland, the City of Fort Collins, and the Larimer County commissioners as well, to fund a program that allows me to staff a designated Larimer County transport person Tuesday through Sunday from 2 in the afternoon until 6 in the morning. And we also purchased a vehicle for that purpose and have a protective cage, police cage in the van, along with a cellular phone in case of a medical or psychiatric type of an emergency. And it's incredibly improved our response time and reduced the amount of time that the officers are tied up transporting somebody all the way to Greeley, because we can now meet them or actually drive all the way to the police station in Fort Collins.
Yeah, we've noticed a big difference in helping us out too to stay out on the streets. It's a great idea.
It's very cost effective, and so we're really excited about how the community came together in a collaborative way to address a huge problem in Fort Collins. A lot of people wanted their own detox center in Fort Collins, but due to this day and age of shrinking budgetary revenues, we have to look at creative ways to access regional type services, and I think that's the trend that healthcare is going to in general anyhow. And this transport grant's just one way of doing the best with what we have.
Bill, I know we had talked about success and the story of success here at Island Grove Regional Treatment Center. And you made some interesting comments about actually how success is determined, and it's determined in different ways for your clients. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Certainly. Our basic premise is that treatment is really change. And we have a very client-centered agenda here. Some of our clients come in that do not think they have a problem with alcohol or other drugs. They have no interest in changing their behavior. We can offer some education and support services. And for them, treatment is successful because they've been kept out of jail, they haven't harmed themselves, and they haven't harmed anybody else. They may leave here and continue to drink as much, if not more, as they did before they came here. But nevertheless, the fact that they did not hurt themselves or anybody else, I think, is some indication of success. That's one of our primary missions as a non-medical detox center, is to safely withdraw people from drugs and alcohol. Other people come in with goals of total abstinence, and success for them means that they never touch a drop as long as they live, or they never stick another needle in their arm, or they never smoke pot anymore. And a lot of our clients are able to go from here on to longer term support. That may include inpatient treatment, such as our halfway house, may include self-help groups or traditional outpatient counseling. And about a third of those people who make that commitment to total abstinence will maintain that. Others come in and they've been a DUI or they've had a crisis because of alcohol, and they're not really interested in completely abstaining and being a teetotaler, but they would like to get their use under control. And so for them, success is defined as being able to use alcohol in a responsible manner, that it doesn't create problems such as legal, family, occupational, etc.
Great. Well, we'd like to thank you for taking us on a tour of the Island Grove facility. It's a wonderful facility, and it's a wonderful opportunity for us to come and see it.
Bill, if anybody wants to find out more information about your facility, who can they contact or who can they call?
The Detox Center is here all the time. We're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and can be reached at area code 970-356-6664. And any of the staff can explain the full array of services that Island Grove Regional Treatment Center has to offer. In case of a need for a referral for detox, that same number can be accessed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a rare opportunity during our tour here of the Island Grove facility to interview one of the clients. And with us tonight is Ted, and Ted has graciously volunteered his time and his willingness to talk to us on camera about his experiences here at the Island Grove Treatment Center. Ted, how long ago did you first come here?
I came here about 8 days ago.
And is that the first time that you've ever come to Island Grove?
No, in 1992 I got a DUI and I got to visit the older place.
The old facility over
Yes.
in the center. And how long have you had a drinking problem, do you think?
I would say the last 15 years.
And it's kind of come to a head at this point to bring you here?
Yes, I've reached the bottom and that's why I'm here.
Tell us a little bit about the facilities and the programs here, and I guess especially what's meant most to you is the people here at Island Grove.
Oh, definitely. I came as a regular intoxicated person and spent the night after my interviews, and then got into their program. They have a very well structured program here, and the staff has just been dynamite. They give you the tools and the opportunity to straighten up your life if you want to. They do it in a few short days, and after you become sober, there's other things that work in your mind that they try to help you with.
Ted, a lot of people have no concept whatsoever of what it's like to be at the bottom, as they say, and that you spoke about that a little bit ago. Can you tell us, from your vantage point, what it was like? I mean, how did it start for you?
A relationship of mine and I ended, and I became, rather than a social drinker, I became a drunk. I got to where I was missing work and this and that, and one thing led to another, and I was living out of my car at 10 below zero weather here in the area recently. Then my car burned up and I was homeless. I had no place to go.
Everything you owned was in that car?
Everything.
Your whole life?
Everything.
And how much were you drinking, let's say, at the worst time?
Well, I blew a .287 on the breathalyzer, so it was quite a bit.
And that's when you were admitted here?
Yes.
And how did you get here?
The Loveland Police introduced me to this organization. I walked in the police department, told them I was drunk, and I had nowhere to go and didn't know what I was going to do.
But that was quite a decision just to go that far even, to make the step, wasn't it?
When you're really down and you're freezing and you have no food or money, it wasn't really a hard decision.
But it was the best decision you think you've ever made?
Yes,
And you're on the road to recovery?
definitely. With their help, Island Grove's help, yes.
Ted, I was reading where there's group therapy here. Does that work for you, and is that something that you feel has been a great benefit to you?
Yes, the group therapy is probably the biggest thing going for the place here, for me anyway.
How does the group therapy at Island Grove differ from other places that you've had the opportunity to check out?
Well, basically, it's because there's a lot of concern here. These people don't just have jobs, they have care and concern for you, where you're going in your life or why you're here.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to express yourself, everything that's inside of you, you get to express it to them.
Mm-hmm.
And then they give you ideas and roads to follow.
From that point, I'm getting the idea that you think very highly of the staff here.
Oh, definitely. I've been to other facilities, treatment facilities, that it's just a job to them. It's not really the meat of the situation. They're very caring, and they're very well trained at what they do.
And it seems to me you also feel like when you walk out of here, you're going to have some new goals, and they've helped you a lot, and you're going to recover from the problems you were having.
Oh, definitely. This was, when I came in here, was the first day of the rest of my life. And they've opened that pathway, and there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And yes, they've given me everything that I need to be where I need to be, sober.
That's great, Ted. We really appreciate you talking with us
Thank
today.
you very much.
You bet. Good luck.
Mhm.
We'd like to thank you for joining us on this edition of Police Beat.
And we hope you found it to be informative. As a final reminder, Colorado did recently enact a new seatbelt law, which requires that children 15 years and younger are to be buckled up no matter where they sit in a car. And if you're unfortunate enough to be stopped for this violation, the ticket does go to the driver, and it's a $50 ticket. That's contrary to the current law for adults and front seat passengers, which is a $15 violation and can be issued individually. See you next month.
Goodbye and take care.
Next time